Assalamu alaikum and good evening. You're watching Witness and I'm your host Quatrina Hossain. President Asif Ali Zardari has once again proved to be the most astute political player on the Pakistani political scene. When yesterday things looked dicey and the PML-Q ministers had offered their resignations to their parliamentary leader and the MQM was vacillating about whether they were going to rejoin the government or not, today everything is hunky-dory. The PML-Q has returned to the government and to the cabinet after Chaudhry Shujat, the head of the PML-Q, had an extended meeting with President Asif Ali Zardari. Certain commitments were made, we don't know the details of that, but the PML-Q has said that they will be back in the government, and Chaudhry Shujat went so far as to say that the PML-Q looked forward to contesting the elections alongside the Pakistan People's Party. And literally a little while ago, less than an hour ago, the Muttahida Qawmi movement announced that they too will be rejoining the federal government and will be accepting 3 ministries at the national level, which means that they are back not just in the coalition, but also in the government and the cabinet. Which pretty much leaves certain political parties out in the cold. Well, maybe not, because they certainly aren't feeling cold. The PML-N has been continuing with their fiery speeches inside and outside Parliament, predominantly focused on the power crisis that is gripping the country and particularly in Punjab. What options does the PML-N really have at this point? And there are other parties that continue to raise vociferous opposition to government policies, but can they all unite on one platform? And even then, can they really bring about a change in the country? That's what we're going to talk about. Allow me to introduce my guests here in the studio. My first guest, Kashmala Tariq. She's a member of the National Assembly and she is the Information Secretary of her faction of the Pakistan Muslim League, referred to as a like-minded group. My second guest today is Sardar Ayaz Sadiq, who's an MNA from the Pakistan Muslim League N. And my third guest today, Yasmeen, Rahman, an MNA from the ruling Pakistan People's Party. I thank you all for joining me here today. And Ms. Rahman, obviously I will begin with you because your party has again pulled off what seems to be a pretty strategic maneuver to ensure the safety of your government. Are you at all still concerned that your coalition remains edgy, or are you now satisfied with the MQ and PML-Q on board? Nothing the PML-N can say or do is going to make a difference.
I think, Quatrina, our party was never edgy. It has always enjoyed the support of their coalition partners, and it is, I think, longer term partnership, not really for a short period of time, not to achieve some short time goals. It's a long time partnership, and it has been proved again today. And I think this partnership will last longer than what people expect, and this partnership will strengthen the democratic system in the country, and I think the stability in this country is the foremost agenda of the government and the coalition partners, and we have to save the system, and coalition partners
is that your priority, or is looking after the government and looking after the people your priority?
I mean, if the system is there, if the government survives all these turmoils, then only they can look after the people. If they are being pressurized all the time by different political forces or non-political actors, even I would say, on different issues, then if there is no stability, there is no harmony, how can a government perform in those circumstances? So we want to concentrate, we want to deliver, if we want to do something for the people of Pakistan, it is the duty of the government to do, but if other people let the government do that. I hope that now everything is settled.
Who's stopping you? Who's stopping you?
All these turmoils, all these pressures, all the pressure tactics, and then on top of it, I would say the law and order situation which is in the country.
Okay. On that, I can tell you that the latest news just in is that the IMF has decided to close their offices in Pakistan because of security reasons. Sardar Saab, it's a problem. Sardar Saab, your party is vociferous. Tomorrow morning, your party leader, parliamentary leader, Chaudhry Nisar, says that you're going to lead a walk to the President's house from the Parliament. What do you hope to achieve by this? Isn't it just symbolic at this point?
Thank you, Quatrina. First of all, I would like to say this alliance that you've just talked of, PML-Q and MQM getting together again with People's Party, birds of a feather flock together. So I think they have things in common which everyone knows. We don't have to go into the details. But, you know, nobody has stopped them from performing. You tell me one instance where they have been stopped from taking decisions as far as the 450 megawatt power plant that is lying in Karachi, to get it cleared, get it installed. Who has stopped them from doing that? Who has stopped them from getting this circular debt issue resolved? We haven't stopped them from doing this. Who has stopped them from giving oil to the IPPs? The reason that for the last 4 days you see so much turmoil, nobody has stopped them from supplying that oil to these companies, and they give them 11 billion rupees now. Why didn't they do it earlier? I mean, it's a complete history of mismanagement. They decided in 2010 to form an executive committee, to form a board of the railways. They haven't been able to put that together in more than 1.5 years.
And I read in the newspaper recently that they're considering shutting down passenger services for 1 year of Pakistan Railways.
What? Well, I mean, 11 billion was sanctioned by the cabinet in December 2010.
But they
haven't been able to get it. So, I mean, it's a history of mismanagement and chaotic situation. I don't see any government there. Mr. Rahman Malik comes to the parliament on issues, on various issues, and he says, I know we've got to the people who are responsible for terrorism or particular incidents, and I'm going to present a report. The report never comes and the issue fades away. I mean, you give me one example where they've been able to perform. That is what I should say. Instead of finding where they're performing well and where they're not performing, I need one good example where they're performing well, and I can't find any. So what do you expect us? What do you expect us to do? We have.
But what do you hope to achieve?
I mean, we are an opposition, and we have to become more proactive as the time goes by. I will give you a small example. I was out on the streets trying to educate people. We were carrying out a campaign on the dengue issue in Lahore. And apart from dengue, that became a smaller issue. Wherever we went, this was last Sunday I'm talking of, wherever I went, I was caught from my collar, from my waistcoat collar, by an old lady who said, I am without electricity. Because of not having electricity, the tube well is not working, I am without water, and there are dengue patients in my house. I want the fan to be running there so that the mosquito cannot sit on the patient or the other people of the house. And you tell me where electricity has gone. You people are. I said, I am not from the government. She says, I don't care. You are an elected representative. Whether it is an MPA or an MA, they are holding everyone accountable.
Okay, now they are holding everyone accountable, but, and one of the interesting parts, of course, of this is that the Prime Minister has just said in the news that the people don't have a problem with the power outages. It's the PML-N that's provoking them. So I guess that puts a footnote to what you're saying.
I can assure you, they do not understand what the rage is, how people are upset, and how they are going to react to these things. They have no clue.
Okay.
I'm sorry to say, but I think they have no clue what's happening.
They have no clue. I'm going to
the
come
Prime
back
Minister
to this.
I'm talking about, I'm sure their members know what is happening.
Okay. Ms. Tariq, of course, the amusing part in all this is that, and I use the word amusing rather sardonically, I should say, is that there are very few options available to the opposition to really affect any kind of change. Now, your party has vacillated, or your faction rather, I should say, has been vacillating for a while. At one point, it seemed pretty clear, or it seemed to us that that your faction was going to join with the PML-N. That wasn't announced. That didn't really formally come through. What is your party's position now on what the PML-N is doing, which is the street protests and the street agitation?
Yesterday, we walked out with them, and our talks are going on with them, which will be formalized in the near future. But Quatrina, the point is what my honorable colleague is saying is 100% true, because you can't keep your eyes closed and say everything is hunky-dory. People are dying. People are dying because of dengue, people are dying because of target killing, people are dying because of drone attacks, people are dying because of hunger and poverty, people are dying because of the floods which you witnessed yourself. So, Quatrina, we just can't say that, you know, we can get away with this by closing our eyes and saying that no, everything is fine and it's just somebody provoking them. You saw people coming out on the streets, people are coming out every day, and there are 18 hours of power outages. load shedding going on, every city of this country, which you and I, when we were growing up, we never saw that. We never witnessed that. It has never happened in our lifetime period, right? So it is something which is completely alien and which is so badly governed, as he said, mismanagement, I would say lack of capacity, I would say lack of determination, lack of interest. Their priorities are different, Quatrina. They don't want to take the whole country out of this problem. Otherwise, you know, 4 years, it's almost, we are coming to the end of the 4th year.
You're saying that they don't want to do this, they don't
have the capacity to do it.
They don't have the capacity. Because I was going to say, why do you think? I mean,
no, I'm saying even, listen, nobody wants to be criticized. And even if they are corrupt, they still want to give a cover up by saying we are performing. But coming to the end of the 4th year, probably they don't have the capacity. Because,
they don't have the
capacity. They certainly don't. What do you mean by feel, Quatrina? You have put them to litmus test. And what does the test say? That, hello, our hands are up and we cannot. They keep on shuffling between one minister. Naveed Kama has been given, like his ministries have been changing. We've been seeing that from finance to water and power to petroleum. Like somebody who you think has a little bit of acumen, you want that person to be everywhere, and then you're importing people. You're using the very same people which Q had in the last government, and then you had been criticizing them at that time.
True.
So, Quatrina, this is completely, I think, I'm sorry to say, the cabinet which has been formed has completely failed.
Completely failed. Now, Mr. Rahman, you've heard the indictment that your two colleagues have given to your party, don't have the capacity, don't have a clue, priorities are misplaced. I do have to ask this. When I hear that the people don't have a problem, the PML-N is provoking them into being aggressive or violent. Is that fair of the Prime Minister to say that when obviously 18 hours of load shedding, that's painful?
No, Quatrina, I agree, 18 hours of load shedding is there, power shortage is there. But I think what Prime Minister wanted to say was that this issue was aggravated by provoking the people by other parties, he named N and maybe other parties also. And definitely I think people were agitated, they were out on the streets, but the situation got worse when the political elite, I would say political leaders, they joined them, and the people were really provoked and the roads were blocked. I mean, what change can be brought by all these Tariqs and all people coming out on the streets? This is not the solution to power shortage. We have the Parliament Forum, they can give us the recommendations, and they can, that's what I
just asked a simple question.
None of the recommendations have ever been.
That's the question.
I am coming
Why
to that.
did it take the Prime Minister 2 or 3 days of writing on the streets before he issued that rupees 11 billion to the Petroleum Ministry?
I'm coming to that. I mean, the government has to arrange funds. There is a fiscal deficit nowadays. The fiscal space is not that comfortable. So government definitely has to arrange funds, and government knows its duty. And today Naveed Kama, Minister for Water and Power, made statement that 3,000 megawatts with this injection of this 11 billion, and then 2,000 megawatts he's says in the next few days. So I think government is very cognizant of the fact that it is their duty to deliver, and they are trying. As far as Sadiq Sahab said about Rahman Malik coming and then he didn't turn up for the giving the report to the Parliament, why don't they demand it there? What they do it is just thumping the desk, making all this rowdyism and not doing their duty as effective opposition should be doing, and asking for the reports. Where are the reports? Coming back to dengue, I would like to add, I am living in Lahore. The situation is not really good. I'm not blaming them, but I have to make my point. The situation is not good. 2 years back we were hearing that dengue will be worse next year. What have we done for prevention? When there is an epidemic, then we are running here and there, all their political leaders, and Sardar Sahab himself I have seen in TV running here and there. Why didn't they plan 2 years back? Who was stopping them? Where are the medical...
A bit of a pot calling the kettle black here, Ms.
I mean,
I have to say...
But Quatrina, you have to be fair. Then you have to be fair.
I'm being fair.
You have to be fair. What I am saying is wrong? Is it wrong? Two wrongs doesn't make one right.